At the IPPN conference, I promised I'd answer lots of questions that were put on post-it notes, because I asked everyone to bring a burning question, write it down on the post-it note and stick it to the wall. I'm going to do 5 at a time. Here's our first 5, and we'll go through them one by one, and hopefully we'll have them answered. I'll also, over the year, be writing down the answers to these questions on shaw.net, my blog, so hopefully this will be useful for quick answers anyway. So the first one is there an easy way of closing in a Facebook page opened by pupils and unknown to us? We now want to open our own and finding it difficult to contact them. It's hard to know whether you know who these people are or not. If you do know who they are, it's a matter of kind of asking them very nicely and trying to do it in a nice way before, I suppose, contacting Facebook and getting them involved. I mean, ultimately, there isn't an easy way. Except trying to find out who owns it and pleading to their better nature. If your school doesn't have a Facebook page and you haven't set one up, I would recommend that you do set one up as quick as you can before somebody else does, because it really isn't easy once it's up there, and it can be a real pain, which I'm sure it could be. And the risk obviously is, if you don't have control over what's on that Facebook page, really anything could happen. Hopefully not, because people are generally quite sensible, but as I said, you're better off to be in control of your own web page or Facebook page or any social media. Hope that one helps. We go into number 2. Is the day of the printed book going? That's a great question. I don't think so. Much like the real world of books, there's ebooks and normal books. People seem to, still like buying books. Sales are still fairly, they're fairly standard. Ebooks aren't taking over. Some people like the feel of a book. I think we have too many textbooks in Ireland, probably. So I would imagine that it wouldn't be a bad thing if that was reduced significantly. But I don't think it's gone. I think digital stuff will complement printed books in the future, and probably presently. And I suppose if printed books are just simply replaced by ebooks, it's not going to solve anything. I think the ebook is going to have to do something more than the printed book. At the moment, in most secondary schools, all that's happened is books have been replaced with ebooks, and the only advantage of that is that school bags are lighter, but that's really no reason to move from paper-based books to electronic books. I mean, that's defeating the purpose, in my opinion. Good question. I'll have to think a bit more about that, but that's my initial thoughts. This question here, as it focuses in, is: why is an iPad better than generic tablets, or are they? It's a great question, and I would suggest that iPads aren't better than generic tablets in it, or whatever tablets, Android tablets I think you might be referring to, or maybe Surface tablets. There's 3 types of tablets out there in the market really that are in popular demand: iPads, Android tablets, and Microsoft Surface tablets. Microsoft Surface tablets are basically the same as having a Windows machine. They're really expensive, but they basically are like a Windows machine in a tablet form, and are excellent if you're already in a Windows environment. The one thing that but iPads and Androids are very, very similar. I would suggest there isn't much difference. I'm using an Android device to record this video, and I find it perfectly adequate and perfectly fine, and no better than what an iPad could do. Except if I was using it with children, I would think that it might be a good idea to use the iPad for videoing and music. I think it's great for multimedia, maybe better than Android, but for all other reasons, I don't think there's any point in going to the expense of an iPad. iPads go out of date after a couple of years. I think they look lovely, they act lovely, they're generally fast, but I think most good Android tablets are just as good, with the proviso, really, or I suppose with the thing that I think iPads, probably nothing beats the iPad for recording video and music and things like that. I just think it really has that over any other tablets out there. But anyway, that would be only my opinion. I think others would disagree. This person says: how can I make my school IT ready in i.e. update technology to enable full access to broadband in every classroom? Well, you need a network for that. Schools would have got a network as part of a grant back, I don't know when it was, 2005 maybe. Now Wi-Fi is a big deal, and a lot of schools wouldn't have a good Wi-Fi setup. Really, ultimately, you're going to need to have a really good Wi-Fi setup depending on your school context. Big schools need real industry standard Wi-Fi, in my opinion, because it's clever enough to know when you need full Wi-Fi access, or in certain areas, and when people aren't using it, so it loads the right area. But smaller schools might just need a home solution if it's a very small building. The best thing to do is get a network person in, a specialist. Try and get it as local as possible. That would be my advice. But when using a local thing, don't just use the local handyman or the local IT guy. Make sure he really knows his stuff with networking. It's like asking an electrician to do plumber's work. I mean, they might have a basic idea of how to do it, but it's very specialised. So I'd advise getting a network guy in. That way it will give your broadband to every classroom where possible, given that you've decent broadband, I suppose. Final question of 5. We're on to our coming into our 6th minute. The best type of Wi-Fi for school. The same answer as before. Get a network technician in. I mean, industry standard if you can, because as I said before, it's clever enough to know how much of the signal is needed in each machine, based on what it needs. So if you're showing a lot of videos on one computer, and then there's another place that is just showing online documents, the person that's just using online documents doesn't need a huge amount of the bandwidth, but yet the guy showing videos or the teacher showing videos is going to need that. So a clever industry type Wi-Fi Wi-Fi would be your best bet. It is expensive. 16 teacher school, you're talking between 8 and 16,000 euros setup. So it's a big investment, but once it works, it works. That's your 5 questions for now. I hope they were useful, and over the year we'll be answering those questions in more full detail on onshaw.net. Thank you.